Ladies and gentlemen, Iggy Azaelea has now considered himself to be the change that sparked hip-hop. We have a lot of crazy things going on in the NFL as it is Super Bowl weekend. And, of course, Kanye says another stupid thing that gets us all irritated. Cool cats and cool kittens, it's your man DM Cool. Welcome to the Cool. What we doing? You can catch me on your TV, even on the radio. Pop up at our blog spot, and on my way go. We invading airwaves. We're everywhere airwaves.
Hold up, why them haters mad?
Ain't no stopping us, ain't no topping us. They be watching us, we so prosperous. Ain't no stopping us, ain't no topping us. They be watching us, we so prosperous.
Ladies and gentlemen, cool cats and cool kittens, they try to bite our style, but they stay frostbitten. You are now cruising through the airwaves of CFRE 91.9 FM and on the World Wide Web at CFREradio.com. It's your man, GM Cool, and this is Cool Radio.
Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody!
Better call somebody indeed, because we are on the air and we do not have too much time to waste. So I do apologize for the tardiness and what have you, some technical difficulties, but nonetheless, the show must go on. Later on today's show, we have Compton, California artist J.Ann in the building. Well, not in the building, actually. She will be calling the building, rather. We'll be conducting an interview with her and see what's good on her end. And as well, like you heard on the opening notes of the show, we have Iggy Azaelea in the news. We have Kanye West in the news. We have pretty much people doing the wrong things for the wrong reasons in the news today or this week as usual. Lots of big things happening this weekend. First of all, you got Super Bowl weekend. You got Anderson Silva returning to the Octagon, which is crazy. So I'm very excited about this weekend. But we can't get into too much talk right now. I know you guys wanted to hear me get my grievances out, but we'll leave that for a little bit later on as we get into Trip Talk, because I do have a lot of things to say in regards to the Super Bowl and all that stuff. But before we get to that, we got to get to our first commercial break of the day, and we got to play some tunes. And seeing as how we do have an LA artist calling in, I figure we warm her up by playing some LA tunes. So this one comes by way of the man, the myth, the legend, Kendrick Lamar, featuring Dr. Dre off of his Good Kid, Mad City album. This one is called Compton. We'll be right back after these messages. This is Cool Radio. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. You're now tuned into CFRE Radio 91.9 FM, and you're also listening on the World Wide Web at CFREradio.com. It is your man, DM Cool, and this is Cool Radio. Welcome back to the show, people. Now, as promised, I have some Cali exports that are calling in right now, all right? Now, this isn't the first time you have a Cali artist. This is about the second time, rather. But we're going to get a little bit of that Cali heat because it's very cold up in here in the north in Canada right now. This girl is on the rise on her coast right now. She's coming from the left coast, a.k.a. the fresh coast. Some may say the best coast, but we'll leave that up for debate on a later date, all right? Now, she is killing the scene right now, and she is about to add to the legacy that Compton has created over the years in the world of hip-hop. Ladies and gentlemen, she goes by the name of J.Ann. J.Ann, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Hey, thank you for calling in. Hey, my pleasure. Anytime I get to have an international artist come through and tell us their side of things, as far as where they're coming from, I always love to hear about it. I love to expose that to the Canadian audience as well, too. So, first of all, I want to say that this isn't your first time calling into a Canadian show. You actually called into a show in British Columbia, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. That probably was about, I think, that probably was about last year this time, maybe?
Okay.
Later.
A little later. Okay,
Yeah.
that's proper. So, BC, we affectionately know it as British Columbia, but to some, possibly to many, and this may be up for debate since you are coming from Cali, BC also stands for Best Chronic. So you may have some debating, because I know, the Compton people, they love their chronic, and I'm not just talking about the Dr. Dre album. But speaking of which, what is Detox coming out? Have you had a talk with Dre or something like that? Because we're waiting on that up here.
Nah. I wish I could have a talk with Dre, but I think just from hearing Dr. Dre music and all that, he's just a legend, and he has to have a certain perfection. Some people want to reach a certain perfection. I think they like if it don't fit how they feel, then they just can't bring it out, And I think that's what Detox is about. But hey, you never know. Dre might surprise the people.
He may surprise the people. I wouldn't be surprised if he wanted to surprise the people. Now, Jay, you can't see me right now, but you might be able to see this clip if I do upload it to YouTube. But I just want you to know right now that I'm wearing an LA T-shirt. Just to make you feel at home right now. You know what I mean? Like I want to show that love. Of course,
Dang,
I got you.
I feel kind of bad. I wish I would have had a Toronto T-shirt on.
Don't worry, man. Don't worry. We'll figure that out. We'll make that work.
You gotta give me your address so I can ship you some Compton shirts.
Girl, I got you. We'll talk after. We'll talk after. But let's talk more about you now. All right. First of all, the people want to know who exactly is J.Ann.
Well, I'm a female artist. As you know, I'm actually a writer. I don't want to forget that. Writer/artist, out of Compton, California, born and raised, and I still reside here. Poet, writer, beyond music. I like writing books, all this. I'm, just a creative person. That's who I am. I'm looking to express myself in any lane that I can that deals with the arts, the creative process. So when you hear J.Ann, just think about creating.
Absolutely, and why not? Now, when did you first start creating music?
About 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been a poet, always been a writer, always loved music, but I started rapping about 5 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
That probably was like going into 2010, ended in 2009.
Okay.
I finally met my destiny.
All right. And what gravitated you towards your destiny?
Well, like I said, I always loved music. Like, music always has been there, like, forever, since I could remember. And I've always loved writing. I used to write for my school newspaper. Used to have creative writing class. Used to go to poetry reading. So, the poetry and the music go hand in hand. So it was just like I had a security job, and it was, like, so boring. I used to just have to sit there. So at the same time, I was in the process of learning hip-hop because growing up on the West Coast, I just listened to a lot of West Coast music. So I was in the process of teaching myself about the Fugees and the Roots and just listening to all this kind of music. And at the same time, I was on YouTube just cruising, and the Fugees, How Many Mics came on. And I just started writing to it and then rapping. Like, I know I had the ability to do it, but I never thought about doing it, And it's like once I feel something and I feel like it opened my soul, I'm going to go for it. So I'm like, everything is about music from that point on. It was all about music.
Absolutely, and rightfully so. Now, you're coming from Compton, California, and there is a rich history of artists coming from Compton. So we already outlined Dr. Dre, Game, for example. Kendrick Lamar is the latest gem to come out of Compton. So what do you think, or rather, I'll ask you that in a second, but more so right now, what made you want to add to that tradition of rich rappers coming from that area?
Well, because you never hear the female perspective. Like,
true.
Like you just said, we didn't have the NWAs, the Game, the MCAs, a whole gang of artists. King T is maybe some artists you never heard of.
No, I've heard of King T.
It's never been that female voice, that came and showed the world, like, gave her perspective. And then, that's what I want to do, give my vision of it, the female vision. It may be no different from the male's vision. I'm sure it's not, but it will be a little different because I'm going to give you the story in a different light, in a different perception, I wasn't in a gang, but I grew up all around gangs. I'm be more the observer, I seen women prostituting, all these things. So I want to give the woman perspective of what went on in Compton.
Absolutely. So almost like you're sitting at the window observing what's going on and just writing in your book, basically.
Exactly.
All right, that's what's up. Now, next question I wanted to ask you, actually. What do you think separates Compton from any other city on the hip-hop map?
Well, because Compton is a very small city. I call it the land of golden concrete. And, people be asking me, why do I say the land of golden concrete? Because it's a lot of stars here. It's rich in soil with talent. Even for football, you got Richard Sherman in the NFL.
Yep.
You got Tyson Chandler. You got people in the basketball.
Baron Davis,
Brandon
Paul
Jennings.
Pierce, I think.
Yeah, you got people that's from Compton, and it's like rich in talent. To me, the struggle always produced the best talent, but it's such a small city. Like, you have to really understand how small it is compared to L.A. that have other cities inside of L.A. You have Watts and South Central, and then in Long Beach you have Signal Hill, and you have cities inside your cities. But Compton is just a little city with probably like 5 main streets.
Okay.
Overpopulated with people, but it's such a little place, and packed in this place is like a lot of talent. And some of the talent you probably never heard of, you know, you got YG, all these people that just problem, all these people that's coming out the city, but it's so much talent here. Like, so much talent here, you know. So I think that's what separates us, how small we are and how much talent really resides here, you know. Compared to even like New York, it's a big place.
Yeah.
It's a lot of talent that came out, but it's a big city. Compton is very small, like very small. If you look it up on the internet and see how big it is, you'll be like, wow. So, you know, I think that's what separates them.
Absolutely. And it seems like you guys are like a very close-knit community in that regard as well.
Yeah, in a sense, I think better now we're more community-orientated versus back in the 90s and 80s because it was like when I say 5 main streets, it's like half of these streets is Crips and half of these streets is Bloods and nobody's crossing over. But now I think we live in a day and time like where there's more unity going on. It's like it's stuff that's still happening, color barriers and stuff, but it's like people are not really looking at that. So now in this day and time, I would say we are more a community back then versus back in the day we were more like segregated, you know, as a people.
Absolutely. Now, let's go more onto the MC side of things. Now, you said earlier that, you know, there's never really been a female MC out of Compton to like really explain her side of the story, and that's a void that you want to fill in. So based on that, what's your take on the current landscape of female rappers in general in the game right now?
Well, I think female rappers are about to like really take over. You know, there's a lot of female rappers out right now. You got Deja Lo, I don't know if you heard of her, a new artist, Nicki Minaj, and Azaelea Banks. It's Eve. I still love Eve, and I'm still say so.
Yo, Eve is my favorite female rapper of all time. I don't care what anyone says.
She's my favorite female rapper. Hey, we got that in common. She's my favorite female rapper of all time. You know, and I think we're gonna females gonna finally be able to show that we have skill. You know, like it's like someone once told me like, and this is a male point of view, like. Female rappers are like the WNBA. Nobody wants to see a woman dunk, you know. And I was like, wow, that's kind of cold. But I think we're hitting that generation where it's not about gender no more. Coming up, and when hip hop first started, to me, like you had the Roxanne Shante, you had Salt and Pepper, you had a lot of female artists. Then it hit this stale moment where it was like only a little bit of us, and it was more male dominated. And then early 2000, there was a lot of female artists again. You had the Nephews, the Eves, the Trinas, the Lil Kim, the Foxy Brown wasn't really out in that time. The Shaunas, you had other artists, and I think now we're hearing that mark again, you know, where female artists are about to uprise and kind of like dominate the game just like the male side.
Absolutely. Now, one of my criticisms as far as like female rappers go has nothing to do with their skill or talent or anything. I think it's more of a sense of, or the lack of a sense of unity. I always feel like whenever there's one that comes up, the rest, there's a hard time for the rest to come up, and no one wants to bring anyone up with them as well too. I mean, case in point, you have this now ongoing issue with Azaelea Banks and Iggy Azalea. So when you witness something like that, what's your take on that?
Well, I think it's more in society. You are right. Like, even when I have interviews a lot, they ask me, well, what do you feel about Nicki Minaj? Like, do you think her lyrics are this about? It seems like they always try to make an issue between female artists. And I think that's in our genes, too. Just as women, you know, it would be a lot of who she thinks she is, she's jealous, you know. I heard about it, Iggy and Azaelea Banks beef. I didn't really, like, listen to what was going on. But I think it just be more a people point of view and perception, you know. But it is not a lot of unity within the female rappers. I don't know why we can't seem to get along, or you know, we don't show each other as much love as the guys do. But hopefully one day that'll change. I think we coming in a generation where that's not really going to exist. Of course, there's still going to be issues just like it did with the male. But, you know, I think it's gonna that's not going to be such an issue no more. Absolutely. And I hope so, too, because if we come together.
Exactly, because there's a lot of talented, like, female MCs out there. And, like, for you guys to come together, it would be a treat for the hip-hop world. So let's move on now. This year, you're actually going to be performing at South by Southwest. So take me back to when you got that call and how you were feeling at that very moment.
Well, actually, I was like, I did a talent search show for DJ Billy Knight, shout out him out of San Diego, and he's the one that put me on with it. So when he connected me with it, I was very happy because it's funny that I just went to A3C in October in Atlanta, and I wanted to go to South by Southwest, but as you know, it's so expensive. So I'm like, dang, how can I go? You know, try to think of all kind of ways because I am an indie artist. How can I raise money? So when DJ Billy Knight gave me the opportunity, it was like, wow. Like, I had been thinking and trying to manifest ways, and that, you know, that's how I came to light through him. So I'm very excited. Like, I've always wanted to do it since go there, period, just to network since I've been an artist. So to actually be performing, and I'm performing at 2 different venues on the 19th and the 20th. So I'm really excited about that.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Now, we know you're a very busy individual, and we're going to let you go in a couple minutes. But before you go, we have some games that we like to play with the guests over here at Cool Radio. You know, just you get to kick back, relax, have some good laughs, let the audience at home know that, you know, you got a personality and all that good stuff. So, on that note, I got 2 games, all right? One of them is like a staple on the network. The other one is tailor-made for a specific guest. So this one's tailor-made for you. So this one is called All Compton Everything, all right? So we already know you're coming from the left coast, and Compton, again, very strong city when it comes to hip-hop. So I want you to give me your opinion on these things that are related to Compton, all right? So first thing I got over here are Chuck Taylors. Why are Chucks, you know, the premier shoe in Compton?
I would say first because they represent an area where people were from. That's when they, you know, first came to life. From when I was growing up, that's what a lot of people were from, you know. If you had blue chucks, you were Crip. If you had red chucks, you were Blood, you know. So it mostly have to do with color, but that's why they're so famous here on the West Coast. And also because of the style of them, you know, and the kind of weather. We come from a state where it's spring and summer the whole year, you know. So that's why they're important.
That's what's up.
On the West Coast. But if you look, everybody across the board is wearing Chucks now.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Not just in the West Coast no more.
Definitely.
On the West Coast no more.
Now, we're wearing Chucks up here as well, too, up here in the north. Now, second one, black on black fashion. So why is that such a staple in Compton?
Black on black?
Yeah.
I think it's just like, again, a lot of things that come out of Compton has a lot to do with, like, I don't want to sound like Compton is just like a gang or city, like we're all about gangs and all that, but yeah, it's like territorial, like that's what Compton is all about, you know. And at a time like wearing black, if a lot of people did do that, it was probably to segregate themselves from the color, from being either a Crip or a Blood.
Yeah.
Because at one time only Crips was wearing blue and only Bloods was wearing red. So if you want to be associated with that, then you have to pick a neutral color. Probably would be white or black.
Yeah.
You know?
Fair enough. And final one, NWA.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
NWA is the reason why Compton is even on the map, you know. All much due respect to them and the efforts that they put in and put the city on. You know, even with Ice Cube, who was actually not from Compton, was from South Central, but, you know, he was right, all the lyrics. So NWA is the whole reason why people know about Compton. And then come to other artists, like as far as Game and Kendrick and all that, but NWA is the sole reason, you know. You gotta give respect to them.
Absolutely. All right, and the final game that we have, this one's a mainstay on our show. This one is called I'd Quit the Game.
Every second, every minute, man, I swear that she can get it.
All right, now in this game, you know, you are the eligible bachelorette. So you're living single, you're doing your thing, everything's gravy. But later on down the line, there comes a time when you gotta quit the game forever and settle down with that one individual, you know, start a family and all that good stuff. So on that note, between these 2 men that I've handpicked for you to choose, only one of them, which one would you choose? Would you quit the game for Michael Eli or J.Ann Taylor, a.k.a. The Game?
Well, The Game.
Yeah. You had to keep it Compton, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, man, definitely. All right. Jay, love talking to you. We got to do this again, most definitely. Before you go.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, my pleasure. Let the people know what you got going on right now.
Well, right now I'm working on a new project. I'm still promoting my single that I released. What I do it for, you can check if you're listening. You can follow me at J.Ann Music. That's J-A-N-N _ music on Instagram and Twitter. The video is in my bio. So I'm basically promoting that and just getting prepared for South by Southwest. You know, I'm also doing a little indie college interview tour. Like, this is like my 4th college interview. I had an interview with Cal State Fullerton. A lot of interviews, Michigan, one just out of Michigan. So, you know, I'm doing a little trial run where I'm just trying to promote myself as an indie artist. I don't have management or none of that, you know, or big indie dollars. So I'm doing anything I can, you know, to really, like, put myself out there as an artist, you know, that's really trying to make it and really showing that I really got skill and talent, you know, like, this ain't no gimmick or this ain't for fun or this ain't for play, you know.
That's what's
so
up.
I'm really just getting prepared for South by Southwest. So like I said, I'm performing at 2 different venues out there, and I just want to make sure my show game is all the way down pat.
And that's what's up. J.Ann, once again, thank you for calling. Again, you can call at any time. Absolutely. And we're down to hold you down as well, too. All right? Take care, all right?
And don't forget, you too, but don't forget to send me your address through emails. I'm going to send you some Compton shirts for real.
Absolutely. I'm going to tell the people that, you know, I got it straight from you. How about that?
Yeah, that'll be dope.
All right. Take care, all right?
All right,
much appreciated. All right.
All right, have a good night.
You too. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, that was the artist, the writer, the overall poet, my homegirl. Now I can say she's my homegirl, J.Ann out of Compton, California. And we are about to hear some of J.Ann right now as we go into the commercial break. This joint right here is called Star. Bang out to it, and when we get back, we're going to have an extended version of Trip Talk, all right? So keep it locked. This is Cool Radio. We'll be right back after this. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. You're now tuned into CFRE 91.9 FM and cruising through the World Wide Web at CFREradio.com. It is your man, DM Cool, and you're now tuned into Cool Radio. Welcome back to the show, people. Once again, that was my guest, J.Ann, calling in from Compton, California, and that is one of her latest singles, Star. Make sure you go check her out on Twitter, on Instagram, all that good stuff. Now, it's time for Trip Talk, all right? 3 topics of 3 minutes, but we're going to try and squeeze everything in, and I'm going to get some stuff off my chest I wanted to at the beginning, but didn't really have enough time, so what the hell, why not? This is my show. I'm going to change up the rules a little bit. I'm going to hit you up with the Let That Ish Breathe segment right now as well, so hit it.
Let this bitch breathe.
All right, so I got to Let That Ish Breathe right now. Super Bowl. As I mentioned earlier in the show, we have the Super Bowl coming up this weekend, and everybody's getting ready for it. All the diehard fans are getting ready for it. The best time of the year for football, arguably the biggest sporting event in North America. Also, the casual fans are getting ready for it too. They're getting ready to go to the Boston Pizzas and all the local bars. Everyone's going to root for a team that they don't really follow, and it's all good. It's all good, you know, as long as if you just want to treat it as like a social event, that's fine too. I just have one rule, though. One rule. If you are a casual fan of football or not really a fan of football at all, and you're just going because your friends are going, that's fine. But don't act or pretend like you know what is going on as far as who the players are, who's on which team. Don't try and talk stats to anyone. Don't act like you know what you're talking about. Me, personally, I hate that. That's my pet peeve because you shouldn't be talking to a master when you're nothing but a grasshopper, all right? So all the casual fans or the non-fans, just the people who are there to be social, be forewarned. You will get sunned by somebody. And also, don't be one of those people where you're asking a question every 5 seconds like, oh, who's that? Who's that? What does that mean? Why did he tackle him? Why are they waving a flag? What's a yard? What's a touchdown? Like, no. Watch the game and learn for yourself. A question every now and again is cool, but after every other play, nah, that is a no-no. That is a huge no-no. So please, I urge you, do not do that. I'll admit, I'm not the biggest NFL fan, but I respect it. I follow it from time to time, so I'm not going to be the one asking, oh, what's going on? But just pay attention for yourself, and you'll know enough. That's it. Plus, a lot of people just watch it for the commercials and the halftime show anyway. So, hey, it is what it is at the end of the day. Now, let's talk about some of the things that are going into the Super Bowl. Usually, you would think that the Super Bowl is a big enough entity that it wouldn't need any sideline stories to kind of push it that much more. However, this year in particular, there are a lot of stories happening, all right? First and foremost, the biggest one is what's called Deflategate. And in case you guys have been under a rug or under a rock for the longest time, this basically came about when the New England Patriots played against the Indiana Colts in their conference finals. And after the game, allegations were being made that the Patriots replaced the game ball with deflated balls, thus giving them a better advantage over the team. And so this is being investigated right now. And the coach for the Patriots, Bill Belichick, has been questioned about this by the press and the media. Also has their golden boy quarterback, Tom Brady. He's been questioned heavily about this as well. And a lot of people are claiming that they are cheaters, and this isn't the first time that they've been accused of cheating as well. So in this situation, if it turns out that they did replace the game balls with deflated balls, then yes, of course, you can throw the blame at them. But this is all hearsay for the time being. But looking at the bigger picture, I wouldn't even throw the blame at them. I would throw the blame at the league for not monitoring this even closer. I mean, this isn't the first time that the NFL has, messed up. Roger Goodell should be given a Lifetime Achievement Award for effing up, literally, because you are now coming into a situation where he's mishandled this issue improperly, no pun intended, but also a bevy of other issues, including the whole Ray Rice situation from earlier in the season that was mishandled incorrectly as well too. So this wouldn't surprise me if this was the latest in mishandling by the league's commissioner. Not only do you have that story going on, but you also have the story of Marshawn Lynch happening, okay? Now, Marshawn Lynch is a player who plays running back for the Seattle Seahawks. And he is known for being somewhat outspoken towards the league and how they treat their players. Now, obviously, Bill Belichick and company do not like how he speaks about the league. Therefore, they're always fining him. And every time he speaks, the fine gets higher. It goes from $25,000 to $50,000. One time it was $100K. I don't know what he did that he had to cough up $750,000. And they're saying now that his next fine could be worth up to $500,000. I don't care how rich, how popular, how many all-star badges you have as an athlete in general. $500,000 is still $500,000. You could put that away and use it as a trust fund. Now, because of this, Marshawn Lynch has become a man of few words, so to speak. He refuses to speak in depth to the press nowadays, and he has gone on record to say such comments as the aforementioned and the following. He has said such things as, "I'm thankful. I'm here so I don't get fined." And he'll say it like this: "I'm here so I don't get fined. I'm here so I don't get fined." Like, he'll say it like that. This guy's straight Cali. And today, he actually answered the press, the media, and the questions in regards to that. He was saying how he doesn't like how the media tries to pin him down and tries to get him to say certain things. Therefore, he keeps his statements short. And today's statement that he came out with today was simply shout-outs. Shout-outs. And this guy was shouting out a bevy of people. He said, shout out to Oakland. Shout out to his family. This man said, shout out to Africans. I'm not going to lie. I felt a little proud of myself. He's like, "Hey, Charlie, shout out to all the Africans." Like, if he ever did that, I would have snapped. He's like, "Charlie." I would have snapped if he had said that. I would have snapped if this man said, "Shout out to all the people who make their jollof rice." I would have snapped. I would have given him a badge of honor for that shit right there. Pardon my French. Anyways, so this guy was just saying shout outs to this, shout outs to that. This guy was just saying shout outs to everybody. So I figured, why don't I give some shout-outs? Just the most random shout-outs, why not? Shout-outs to UTM for allowing me to do my show. You already know how it go. Shout-out to one of my co-staff members, Elise on the Swig. Shout-outs to her. Shout-outs to my people, them. Shout-outs to Toronto. Shout-outs to the entire GTA. Shout-outs to the Toronto Raptors. Shout-outs to Jollof Rice, because I love me some Jollof Rice. Shout outs to Drake. I don't know why I said Drake, but hey, why not? Shout outs to Anderson Silva making a comeback tomorrow night. Shout outs to all the waist khakis that rock lace front wigs that look like football helmets. Shout outs to the wastemans that will buy expensive rims on their car but can't afford to pay rent. Shout outs to the fact that I got a fresh haircut by my man Jamar, who has a barbershop called Urban Barbers on 77 Lakeshore Road West in Oakville, Ontario. Make sure you check that out. And shouts to you people for listening on a regular basis. The cool clique, as I like to call y'all. My cool cats and my cool kittens. So that's what it is. It's all about the shout outs. So most definitely watch the Super Bowl. If you're not already into it, I guarantee you will be into it. It's just an excuse to go out for wings and beer. That's all it is. If you're not even the casual fan of football, if you're just like a fan of going out and meeting people and having a good time, then just do it for that sake. All right? Now, time for Trip Talk, all right? A very condensed version of Trip Talk, but I will get through as much of it as I possibly can. So let us get the show on the road. That kind of almost didn't make sense, but it's okay because I'm DM cool. I run things. Done know. Iggy Azaelea, she was on record to say that, and I'm paraphrasing, mind you, even though I just said on the record, but mind you, I'll paraphrase what she said. Earlier this week, she says that, whether I become successful or not in this industry, I can always say that I was the one who sparked a change in hip hop. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm a little parched. So, if you guys are in for a hot beverage, I got some tea on deck. So let's have some tea, right? Put them pinkies up when you sip that tea, boy and girl. Now, Iggy, people were actually on your side for a minute when you were going through a little tiff with Azealia Banks a month ago. You didn't have to open up your big mouth and say that you sparked the change. The fact that you are in the industry today is proof that someone else, cough, cough, Eminem, is the one that sparked the change in hip-hop, all right, as far as North America goes. He is the one that sparked the change for, white rappers to be accepted into hip-hop, quote-unquote, if you want to say that. Vanilla Ice almost messed it up for you. He almost gave you no chance in hell. But Eminem came and said, lose yourself in the music the moment you own it, you better never let it go, ho. And that is the person who sparked the change, not you. You may have sparked the change for white Australian rappers who want to immigrate to America and make a career out of themselves, but you did not spark a whole generational change. There have been white rappers who have come into the game of hip-hop before you, and there will be some who will come after you. So please don't gas yourself up right now. You should stay quiet when people are calling out, racism and stuff like that. You should stay quiet, but you still continue to talk. Just stop. Just sit down, boil some water. Let's have some tea. Sorry, that was the wrong drop. We'll sip some tea later on, okay? Speaking of sips tea, Lil Wayne, once again, is making headlines ever since he decided that he wanted to leave Cash Money because Baby & Co. that decided that they're not going to release his upcoming Carter 5 album. So he is now engaging in a lawsuit with Cash Money. And not only that, but he plans on taking Nicki Minaj and Drake with him. So basically, he's trying to claim ownership, of the Young Money label. Now, what I find funny is that he only mentioned Drake and Nicki Minaj. He didn't mention Tyga. He didn't mention Little Twist. He didn't mention Jay Mills. He didn't mention Goro Goro. He didn't mention any other waste youths that's on that label, just as prize pigs. He could have at least mentioned Tyga, because Tyga had a couple joints here and there. But nonetheless, I found it funny that he singled out those guys. So you want to mention how you want to take your biggest cash cows with you, but you don't want to mention, none of the above, like the voodoo looking head doll. What was his name? Lil Chucky? Yeah, you don't want to mention those guys, but you want to mention Lil Wayne, or you want to mention Drake and Nicki Minaj. But hey, that's none of my business, right? I love me some tea. I like chai tea. I'm a fan of chai tea myself. But yeah, I find this funny because once again, we saw this coming. This is nothing new. Cash Money is our graveyard when it comes to record labels. There is one golden rule in hip hop. Do not sign with Cash Money. And another one is do not sign with Bad Boy. Do not sign with one of those two, or else your career will be shortened indefinitely. The biggest stars on that label are the people who own those labels. All right? Let's go down the list of unsuccessful artists, from Cash Money who have left. I don't want to say unsuccessful. Some of them were successful, but yeah, you guys know what I mean. Juvenile, Turk, BG, TQ, Mac 10, Manny Fresh, the sound architect of Cash Money, one of the 3 individuals who started the damn label, left. And Lil Wayne, he had a shot. He could have left, but no, he wanted to stay loyal to the fam, and Baby bribed him, saying, if you stay with the label and not sign with Rockefeller Records, where your career really could have taken off as well too, I will give you your own label, which is how Young Money started back in 2005 with Currency and Mac Main. All right? This guy could have left. He could have started Young Money with Rockefeller Records, but no, this guy's staying on Cash Money. Now, mind you, he had the biggest point in his career when he stuck along with Cash Money. But once again, when your label owner buys 1 million of your copies so that you can go platinum within the first week, of course you're going to have a successful career following that. But hey, that's none of my business, right? I love me some tea. I'm just saying. Anyways, I did not feel sorry for Lil Wayne in this situation. I am curious to see how he will get out of the situation, but only time will tell. And finally, Kanye West. He is a he is a Hall of Fame member. He is a Hall of Shame member. That's what I'm going to call it from now on. He is a Hall of Shame member of the Wankster of the Week category that we like to do on Cool Radio. And this guy almost made it to Wankster of the Week once again, but I decided, no, I'm going to let these new bucks who have never touched Wankster of the Week get theirs this week. But nonetheless, he is an honorable mention because this week, he gave the go-ahead to a French designer label to go ahead to name their line Last N-Words in Paris. So when you're thinking N-word, you're probably thinking nagger or nice or something. But no, I'm talking about the ones that all the black rappers say in their rap. Part of my friend, she said nigga, all right? Last Niggas in Paris. That is the name of the new clothing line that some French designer label is making, and Kanye said, go ahead. Now, I can't be utterly surprised about this because him and Jay-Z had arguably the biggest song in 2011 called Niggas in Paris, and they performed that song consecutively over and over again after each show about 6 or 7 times, so I can't be surprised that he would go this far. But nonetheless, Kanye, why? Ever since this man's mom died, he has gone off the railer, right? And that's no disrespect to him or his mother or his family, but I feel like that piece of him just died with her, and he's just gone off the wall with it. And to name your clothing line Last N-Words in Paris, that's not something that I can condone to get down with, because now you're going to give more people even more incentive to say the word. I mean, if you're going to say it in song, okay, cool. A lot of people will argue that that word has no meaning. There are some people who just absolutely hate any incarnation of that word. It's an open argument. But me personally, I don't think he should have given that person the go-ahead to name it that, because, again, you're just adding to the problem of people outside the black race saying that word, and therefore it creates more of a discussion, which can be sometimes healthy, but at the same time, it's very redundant and very repetitive. So that's my take on it. Now, on that note, I think it's time to get old school, so let's drop that real quick. Yeah! You already know how we do. Hit me up at GM_cool or cool_radio on Twitter to let me know what you want to hear for Throwback Thursday. And this joint right here comes by way of a Canadian talent who we will have in studio next week, and she goes by the name of Melanie Durant, the lovely and talented Melanie Durant. And let me just say for myself, you know, I don't want to sound cocky or anything, but I feel like I should say the following to myself. Congratulations, DM Cool. You're the real MVP. I'm so ecstatic that I'm going to be having this woman on the air, because this is a person that I've been watching ever since I was a teenager, and I'm just completely humbled and honored that she will be in the studio next week and we can talk about her new music. But let's throw it back. This joint right here comes by way of 2001, if I'm not mistaken, and it features Common. This one is called Where I'm Going. And where we're going right now is a commercial break, but when we come back, we will give you the Wanks of the Week. Keep it locked. This is Cool Radio. Yeah.
What's going on, people? It's your boy Femi Larson and Nan Me.
It's
it's your man Bo Pinto at Bo Pinto.
J Hood from the Toronto Argos. You are now tuned in to Cool
Radio 91.9 FM.
It was an amazing interview. I had an amazing experience. Had an amazing time. The best radio show experiences I've had ever.
Stay tuned for the hottest in news, hip-hop, entertainment, and everything.
Every Thursday at 8 p.m.
Big shout out to DM Cool. Good vibes.
Love you, man. You're famous. I love it.
Yes, yo. Welcome back to the show. All my cool cats and cool kittens. You're now tuned to CFRE 91.9 FM and on the World Wide Web at CFREradio.com. It is your man, DM Cool. You're now tuned into Cool Radio. Ladies and gentlemen, I will not keep you guys waiting any longer. It's that time of the show that we got to get to. And I am talking about the coveted Wankster of the Week. So with that being said, we're about to drop that joint right now. Kind of like this. Now, Wankster of the Week goes to none other than Atlanta rap group Migos. Now, they are a first-time entrant into the Hall of Shame of the Wankster of the Week category here on Cool Radio. Now, they got the Wankster of the Week because they went to Booker T. Washington High School and they donated some money. Now, you're thinking to yourself, wait, hold on. Wouldn't that be a good thing that they're donating money? And mind you, it is. No, nonetheless. Now, you're probably wondering, how much money did they donate to said school? They donated a whopping, jaw-shattering, eyeball gouging $1,000. You're talking about a rap group whose first major single was Versace, all right? A rap group talking about Versace, meaning, okay, luxury raps. You guys probably got money up the ass, all right? You guys talk about riding in Lambos and Maseratis and Ferraris. So we're thinking, again, you guys got money. The chains that they were wearing at the school when they donated that check was probably like $2,000 a piece at the very least. All gold, everything looking like Trinidad James. But together, a combined amount, they came up with $1,000. Now, I'm not going to completely, deuce on them because the fact that they gave some money to a charity, cool, I can respect that. But $1,000 to a school isn't really a whole lot. What can $1,000 do for an entire school? Not a whole lot. $1,000 can be used towards books, but maybe for 1 or 2 classrooms at best. It's not really a whole lot. And the joke is the fact that they came to the school with those big-ass cardboard checks as if someone just won the Heart and Stroke Foundation lottery, or if it was one of those publisher clearance houses checks that they give to like unsuspecting neighbors in the city, or in the neighborhood rather. It just baffled me that all I saw was $1,000. If you're going to give away, a certain amount of money on one of those cardboard checks, it's got to be at least 5 figures. I'm sorry, but $1,000 just does not cut it. Does not cut it at all. Maybe with $1,000, you might be able to afford real meat instead of plastic cardboard meat for about a week, But as far as that, as a charitable donation, something that you feel proud enough to write on a big-ass cardboard check, I'm sorry, boys, but y'all need to check yourselves and get yourself some act right. It baffles me that, for a rap group that talks about living in $1 million mansions and owning this piece of property, driving this kind of car, owning a tiger in their house. I don't think they said that, but I'm assuming they did anyway. And even talking about expensive designer labels that they probably didn't even know existed until maybe 2 years ago. You got guys like that who can't even afford or I don't know if they can afford. I'm sure they can if they're talking about their music, yet they only give out $1,000. And it's not just one person, it's 3 of them. 3 of them. Their advance alone for their record contract was probably like $20K. But no, they can only afford $1,000 to a school. A lot of tea is going around, ladies and gentlemen. Start sipping away. Migos, congratulations. You have joined the likes of Kanye West, Kim Kardashian, and Cameron, and others in the hallowed Hall of Shamed walls of Wankster of the Week here at Cool Radio. So with that being said, do you deserve the Wankster of the Week for your cheapness and your hypocrisy and thinking that you got money? Of course you do. So with that being said, I'm about to drop this drop on you like this. Hit him, 50. Y'all need to stop fronting indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my time. I got to go. Once again, I want to thank you all for tuning in as you do on a regular basis. Much shout outs to my homegirl, J.Ann, calling in from Compton, talking about her music and all that good stuff. And speaking of guests, next week, like I said before, we have singer and songwriter and let me just say R&B veteran of Canada, Melanie Durrant, will be coming to the studio. We will be talking about her new album and all that good stuff. And I am so elated that she will be coming to the studio next week. It's going to be a blast. We're all going to have fun, all that good stuff. Coming up next, y'all want to stay tuned for CFRE Radio because we have the swig with Mike and Elise coming up right after this. So once again, it is your man, DM Cool. Keep it gravy and wavy, and we are out of here. Peace. Cool.